Hey, good morning. I just, again, I think I'm going to be doing some of this more and more, so thanks for tuning in. Over the last few weeks, I've been studying the life of Moses, and I think there's a lot of things in the life of Moses that relate to you, to me, and there's some stuff that's really just jumped out at me a few weeks ago, but now it's much more relevant to me, and hopefully to you as I unpack this. There are really five big choices that Moses made that changed his life and the life of the people around him, and I want to unpack one of those choices every day. And so today, I'm going to talk about one of the big choices that Moses made that really changed the trajectory of his life and the life of other people, but really helped ground him and see the big picture of life. So, just to give you some content on what was happening in the life of Moses. Moses went to Pharaoh and told him to let God's people go, and Pharaoh just rejected it time and time again. So God sent all these plagues until Pharaoh actually said, "Okay, fine, I've had enough. My people have had enough. We're going to let your people go." And so the Israelites are wandering. They're on their way to the Promised Land, and they've been freed from slavery. And so now they're going to be able to experience what God had promised them. But the problem is they've come to the Red Sea, and there's no way across. In the meantime, Pharaoh has changed his heart, and now he's like, "I'm going to go get those people." And so he has sent his entire army to go after Moses and the Israelites. And so there's like 600 soldiers who at the time are considered the best of the best. And so they're on their way to destroy and to attack and to kill Moses and the Israelites. And Moses finds himself at the Red Sea, and there's no place for him to go. And it's really hard because he's in a tough spot, right? He's standing here. He's believing that all the stuff that God has told him is true. But now he faces an obstacle of, I don't know how to get across this thing. There's no safe way to do it. And I've got this army that's breathing down my neck, and they're coming after me, and they are threatening my life and the life of other people. So Moses has to make a choice in all of this, and it's one of the most powerful choices that he could make, but it actually changes his life and the life of the other people. He decides that he refuses to get caught up in the anxiety and the stress and the fear of the situation. Yes, he didn't overlook the obstacle. He knew that he was aware of the obstacles that were ahead of him. He knew that they were real obstacles. They knew that they really were threatening his life and the life of other people, but he chose not to get wrapped up in the negativity, the fear, the doubt, and the hopelessness of these people. And he chose to remember who God was, who God is, and what God was doing and what he had done in the past. And so he really embraced that idea that all these people are complaining, but he refused to get bought into all the negativity. See, fear and doubt and anxiety, stress, they're always the norm when life is changing, and especially when people go through some kind of a crisis. And so that's exactly what was happening in this situation. See, Moses, he had like 2 to 3 million people that were there, and they were all complaining. They were full of fear. They were full of doubt. They wanted to go back. Could you believe they wanted to go back to slavery? That's how crazy the situation had been. And so whether there's anxiety, wherever there's anxiety, our thinking always gets distorted in the situation. We forget the past. What did God do for us, and how did God bring us out of that bad situation? We always forget that. The second thing that we do is all hope in the living God seems to disappear. We get so caught up in this moment or this thing, like, oh, this is coming over me. I can't change my life. All this is happening. There's nothing I can do about it. But we forget to place our hope in the living God. And so often, people choose comfort over the living God, right? They choose comfort. They would trade everything in order to be comfortable. We see that today, right? Look at all the empty shelves we get at the grocery stores. One of the crazy things about all this is that, so God sends Jesus, right? He sends Jesus later on, but he sends Jesus for a reason. So many people are like, oh, Jesus just came to die on the cross. Yeah, he came to do that, but he also came to show us what God was like. He came to show us how God interacts with his people so that we can trust him. And that's one of the major reasons why Jesus came. It wasn't just to die on the cross. There's a whole bunch of other things enwrapped in his reason for being here. And so, in this moment, Moses, he makes a choice. He remembers the big picture. He sees the big picture, and he remembers the big picture. He chooses to see how God had moved in the past, how God is moving currently, and he hopes that God will move the same way or in a similar way in the future. He chooses to see how God moved in his life and the life of his people. As you face obstacles in your life, you have two choices to make. Trust God and purposely and intentionally depend on him. Or yearn for comfort, complain, fret, be full of fear. It's up to you. Every moment of our life, we have an opportunity to make a choice. The choices that you make impact how you live, and they impact the life of the people around you. In life, we don't have a lot of things we can control, although we like to think there are things we can control. But the one thing that we truly can control is the choices that we make and the things that we think about. And so as the days come ahead, as you feel anxiety and stress, which is normal, I would challenge you to think about, what am I thinking about? What choices am I making? Are they, and how are they impacting the lives of my life and the life of the people around me? Are you choosing to trust and believe in God, or are you choosing and yearning for comfort? I hope that you have a great day. I hope today is better than yesterday, and I hope that you deepen your connection with God and the people around you today.